Okay, so this is my virtual library. This is actually my second attempt at this because my first video was about 15 minutes long, and that's much more than 2.5 minutes. Um, so overall, I really enjoyed this assignment. I really liked all the books that I read. I only chose to put in books that I enjoyed reading. Um, so in each category, each genre, I didn't put any that I didn't enjoy. I'm trying to remember though right now. Um, Sweet Claire. Historical fiction is probably my least favorite subject. History is it's so important, but it's always just been something that I've struggled with. I like women's history, and that's probably about it. I didn't, but so anyway, so that was definitely my hardest category, but I still really enjoyed them. Um, I enjoyed this section, um, the biography and informational. Um, I didn't have any problem reading all the books or getting this many books done. This really has encouraged me to I love reading. I've always loved reading. And sometimes I feel like life is so busy that it's hard to read. But I'm actually really anxious for this class to end so that I can get back to reading, more adult books. So my favorite books, I'll try to be quick in each section. My favorite book was for contemporary realistic fiction. I chose Wonder. That's my favorite because I think it's something I love the message and I think it's relatable. And I think with bullying and everything that's going on um, in school, I think this is just something important to read. I think that students should read it at the beginning of the year in fourth or fifth grade. Um, in the diverse populations book, I really liked The Water Princess. I thought that was really a really great book, and it just really shows how differently people have to live in other places. I Got the Rhythm is a really cute book as well. So is Love. Fantasy. My my favorite one is Princess and the Pea. That's been my favorite book since I was a child. So that will always be one of my favorite books. But I also thought Thelma the Unicorn was very cute as well. Um, and kind of different. I always think of fantasy as um, really written a very long time ago, but so I like that this is kind of a newer book, and still in that fantasy category. Historical fiction, Benno and the Night of Broken Glass is definitely this book was amazing. I just bought it on Amazon to keep, and because I want to share this with my daughter, and I thought this would be a really great book to read to a class that is starting to learn about the Holocaust. It's just the point of view of a cat living in an apartment and kind of walking around the streets before the Holocaust started, which was just Jewish people and um, German people, and just the shift that the cat witnesses of togetherness. Two little girls would walk to school together, and then at a point, the Jewish little girl um, didn't get to walk with the other little girl anymore, and before long, um, the other little girl wouldn't even notice the Jewish little girl, and by the end of the story, um, all the Jewish people have moved completely out of the apartment. So this was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. For the informational biography, I liked all of these books. This one was really I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, Malala's Magic Pencil. This was a really amazing book. I think it was a great book. It would be good for students who are, I would say, second grade, maybe first through third. This was a really good book to actually learn about somebody in a very young, sensitive way. But her story was I actually didn't get to finish this completely because it's kind of long. It's 50 different stories about 50 different women who have made an impact on history. I think I haven't purchased this one yet, but I'm definitely going to be buying this one as well to keep because the table of contents is easy. It'd be great inside of a classroom. And there's so many female on there that I haven't even heard of myself, but there's Frida Kahlo is in the book. You'll get to read about her. Um, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Amelia Earhart. There's so many people in here, and they're not too long of stories, so I think that's also really good. But I really enjoyed this, and I liked the way the book was written and how the illustrations look. It's very appealing. For poetry, I really liked Come On Rain. I thought it was a diverse poetry, like a poem book, which I really liked, and I thought that it was written very well, and I really enjoyed this. I thought La Madre Goose was kind of silly, and I kind of enjoyed that one as well. And then for science fiction, my favorite definitely was The Giver. A Wrinkle in Time is good. Um, I'm currently reading the second book, which is not called A Wrinkle in Time, but it's number 2. I'm trying to look at it right now. A Wind in the Door, I think is what it's called. It's and my daughter and I are reading this one, the second book together as well. And then for traditional literature folktales, my favorite one was actually Why Mosquitoes. I keep forgetting what this book is fully called. Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears. And this one was just really it was very cute, and it was a different kind of folktale because it was not an American folktale or any folktale that I've ever read before. It was an African folktale, and I just thought it was really good, and I would really definitely recommend reading this inside the classroom. So overall, I really enjoyed the assignment. I love to read, and I think that's when I become a teacher, I think that is something I really want to emphasize and get my students reading, and helping my students find books that they enjoy reading. Even if they think they don't like to read, I know that there is a kind of book that every single child does enjoy. For me, it was science fiction, sci-fi, and for my daughter, it was contemporary realistic fiction. So I think it's just different. And now she's reading everything. But I think that I would really encourage my students, if I were teaching maybe any grade, older, fourth and up, maybe to actually do this assignment. I think that I wouldn't necessarily have them do it all at one time, but just as they read a book, I would encourage them to add it to their library and then break it down into genres and then select their top favorites. And then maybe at the end of the year, midway through the year, just have students slowly just share their top 3 books that they've read so far throughout the school year. And then maybe have an all-time favorite book category as well, so it wouldn't just be only what they read this year or that current year, but something that they had read just at some point up until that grade. Just because I think sometimes kids hearing other kids talk about books that they've enjoyed, or students will hear like, "Ooh, that sounds really interesting," and that kid read it. I think that would just really encourage reading. So overall, I really enjoyed this assignment. So yeah.